I've dyed my hair and it feels a little bit too dark. It looks really dark on camera. It's the first time I've ever dyed my hair and I'm just not sure. Hi everyone, I'm here today to talk, apart from the little bit about my hair, to talk about something a bit more important, books. Books in particular that I do not like and I am unhauling. Unhauling them, I'm sending them off to the world of the charity shop. Someone else will find these and love them, and I'll tell you why. So in no particular order, I am going to start with this one, a recent read, Hex. I put a review about Hex a couple of videos back. What was this? I mean, it wasn't as stated. I started to read it expecting a creepy story about a witch and ended up reading a creepy story more about how scummy the human race is. And I already know that. You see that every day. You see it on the news, you see it in the streets, you see it when you go into a city, you see people behaving really badly. And yeah, so if I'd wanted a book about how crappy people are, I would have bought a book about how crappy people are. I bought a book about a witch, and the witch was in it. But I mean, it got weird, and yeah, it wasn't what I wanted, so it's off to the charity shop. The next one that I've got is this one. Now this one I'm going to put in with a couple of books actually, because there's a couple of them like this here. There's two of them. Don't Tell Mummy by Tony Maguire and Mummy Knew by Lisa James. Years ago, sort of about, what, eight years ago maybe, I had a thing where I went through a stage of reading sort of tragic life stories where children were invariably abused, grew up, moved past it and carried on their lives. And I did find them really sort of inspiring, that people had gone through such awful things, and I kept them because I thought, you know, I will read them again. But just now I'm a mother myself and I just can't, like, I mean, they just upset me so much. I mean, on the back of this one it's got, "Please stop it, Mummy, please. She thrust her face into mine. Shut up crying," she hissed. "What do you expect me to do? It's not my fault." And just, they break my heart to a point where, I mean, I thought they were really sad beforehand, but the idea now, being a mum myself, and I just can't. So they're off to the charity shop. There's nothing particularly wrong with the stories. There still are strong survivor stories, but just no, they cut too deep now. The next book that I've got is this one. I'm going to send this one on to a friend. I'm not sending it to a charity shop. This is Rattled by Jen White. This is a story about Jen's experience with postpartum psychosis. And it's not an area I knew a lot about. I hadn't really heard very much about postpartum psychosis. I recall there was a storyline in a TV show I used to watch a few years back about it, and it was the first I'd heard of it, and then it sort of sunk to the back of my mind, and then it was resurfaced when I read this book, and this was sent to me for review. It was really, really interesting, and Jen's story is such an important one in breaking the stigma on mental health. And the reason that it's going on, it's not going to a charity shop, but it's going to a friend. My friend's very interested in reading about this as well, after I sort of told her all about it and what went on with Jen and Jen's life story, and so I'm sending it on to a new home to be read, and for someone else to learn a little bit more about the mental health stigma and about things that actually affect real people with real lives that we just don't hear about. So I'm sending this one on. Next up, I've got The Suitcase Kid by Jacqueline Wilson. I love The Suitcase Kid. The only reason I'm sending it onto the charity shop is because I recently bought a Jacqueline Wilson collection, and The Suitcase Kid was in it. So I've got a nice brand spanking new copy of it. So I'm going to send this one on to the charity shop to be loved by some other child. Along the same vein, I've got this one, a Goosebumps book. This is Say Cheese and Die. I'm sending this on because, again, I recently rehauled a lot of Goosebumps collections where I bought a few different lots. And Say Cheese and Die was one of the ones within the new collection. So I might as well keep all of my books looking the same and send this one on to the charity shop for another child to enjoy. Next up, we've got this one, Everything About Me is Fake and I'm Perfect by Janice Dickinson. This was a fun read. It's basically Janice Dickinson talking about everything that she's had done, all of her cosmetic surgery, her life. It is an interesting book. It was a fun read. I don't know why I ended up with this because I'm not particularly interested in Janice Dickinson. I've got no idea why I picked this up, but it was interesting, it was fun, but I don't think I'll read it again, so it's off to the charity shop. The next book to be getting sent yonder is this one, Island Wife. I'm finally getting rid of it. after spending a lot of time talking about how much I hate it. This is about an island wife, a wife who lives on one of the Scottish islands. Didn't enjoy it, didn't really like her, found her irritating. There was a review, I'm not going to get into it because I really didn't like the book or her, so I'm sending this one on to the charity shop. And finally, the last book that I'm going to be sending to the world for someone else to enjoy or hate is this one. This is Chucking It All by Max Gatchman. This is about a man's life on a Scottish island, the island of Orkney, and at first, for the first sort of few chapters, I chortled, I will say. There was a fair bit of chortling going on, but then it just got mean. It just got more and more mean, and he was very nitpicky about women's appearances, and it was just, overall, it left me with a bad taste in my mouth. Like, I've sort of been talking to somebody really negative, and it just left me feeling a little bit. So I'm sending this on to someone who might enjoy it. So those are all of the books that I will never see again. Goodbye to you, books. Let me know, as usual, if you have read any of them and if you love them, and if I'm sending them off and I've offended you terribly. And let me know if you read them and you also agree that they were absolutely useless, or the true life stories hurt you on a level that's deep now that you have children. Let me know, and I'll speak to you all soon. Bye for now.